I'd like to make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
We here to handle the business, not let the business handle us. That's what we are elected to do, sir. So please.
It's her fault. It's her problem, her responsibility, and she failed. She's failed.
In Dune, small-town politics have never been more dramatic. The latest saga involves unpaid rent, accusations of misusing taxpayer funds, and even potential arrests. Township meetings have become less about governance and more about Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor, putting on a show. As tensions rise, Illinois' political scene becomes wilder by the day. Henyard is at the center of this storm, and the situation seems to spiral further into chaos with each passing hour, leaving residents and onlookers both shocked and captivated.
South suburban Dalton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial.
Tiffany Henyard, elected mayor in 2021, has become one of the most controversial figures in local politics. Accused of extravagant spending with taxpayer money and using the police for personal protection, Henyard is also facing eviction from her own home for failing to pay rent. Yes, you read that right. Once seen as a friend, Henyard, who earns nearly $300,000 from her roles as mayor and town supervisor, has not paid rent to landlord Janetta Hall since August. Now, Hall is filing eviction papers after Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, allegedly stopped making payments on their Dalton residence.
In Thornton Township, the board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances while the township super...
Tiffany Henyard's leadership style has earned her a reputation more fitting for a reality TV villain than a public servant. One of the many controversies surrounding her is the PO story. Henyard and her partner reportedly owe thousands of dollars in unpaid rent and even had the audacity to change the locks and garage code to prevent landlord Janetta Hall from accessing the property. Hall, who is now facing the potential loss of her home to foreclosure, is furious. She says this situation has put her in a difficult position and wants them gone for good. It's no longer just about the money. And honestly, who could blame her?
To terminate Keith Free.
Tiffany Henyard is also embroiled in a bitter feud with the Aiden trustees, who have accused her of everything from falsifying checks to hiding financial documents. Meanwhile, another fire is burning in the political realm. During a Facebook live stream that lasted nearly 90 minutes, Henyard declared she would seek the arrest of her political opponents, though she didn't clarify what crimes they allegedly committed. The animosity between Henyard and the trustees has reached a boiling point, with both sides accusing the other of corruption and misconduct. In fact, the trustees have gone so far as to file a lawsuit against Henyard. And while I'm just scratching the surface here, Henyard delivered her statement with the confidence of someone who's watched way too many legal dramas. It's a lot.
But it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some kind of...
The irony of this situation is hard to ignore. The same mayor who was caught earlier this year spending tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on first-class flights, lavish hotel stays, and fine dining in cities like New York and Atlanta is now accusing her political opponents of corruption. Tiffany Henyard, who is under federal investigation for her own extravagant spending and misuse of public funds, reportedly spent a staggering $43,000 on Amazon in a single day. And no, that wasn't for office supplies for the village. It looks more like a personal shopping spree on the taxpayer's dime. Her spending habits have even drawn the attention of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was tasked with reviewing Dalton's financial situation. The results were shocking. Under Henyard's leadership, Dalton's general fund balance plummeted from $561 million in 2022 to a deficit of $365 million by May 2024, a $9 million drop in less than 2 years.
That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next.
The village has been left in dire straits due to Henyard's spending spree, which has not only tarnished its reputation, but also left local businesses struggling to stay afloat. In one particularly egregious case, it was discovered that 589 checks totaling over $6 million were printed, but never sent to vendors, leaving them unpaid and vital services in jeopardy. With federal authorities now reportedly investigating Dalton's finances, it's clear these issues won't be resolved anytime soon. Henyard's opponents argue that this is proof she prioritizes her own lavish lifestyle over the people she was elected to serve.
Are not paying whatever that vendor is.
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for.
Does Henyard express any regret for the financial turmoil in Dalton? Of course not. Instead, she's doubling down on her self-appointed role as the town savior. On her Facebook page, she accused her critics of jealousy and promised to reveal the whole truth later, which, let's be honest, sounds like a soap opera plot twist. She even suggested that her opponents are using these accusations to distract from their own alleged corruption. Why is all the attention on Tiffany Henyard? She asked, portraying herself as the innocent victim of some grand conspiracy. Meanwhile, the people of Dalton are left scratching their heads, wondering how they ended up with a mayor more interested in playing the victim than addressing the real problems facing the village, like water main breaks, unpaid vendors, and an overworked police force too busy serving as her personal bodyguards. Despite all these issues, Henyard insists everything she does is for the people, as if her extravagant spending somehow benefits the community.
I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit.
A startling investigation revealed that village credit cards were used for everything from expensive furniture to taxpayer-funded trips to Las Vegas. To add insult to injury, Henyard's face was plastered all over town in a billboard campaign, giving the impression that Dalton was her personal playground. In one particularly egregious act, she hosted an $85,000 party featuring rapper Jay Holiday and R&B singer K. Michelle, all while the town's finances were spiraling into a deficit. It's clear that while Dalton struggled, Henyard was more focused on her personal image and lavish lifestyle than on the needs of the community.
One day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
as if things couldn't get any stranger, the most recent township meeting under Henyard devolved into what can only be described as a live-action dumpster fire. The meeting, intended to address essential township business, quickly descended into chaos as Henyard clashed with trustees. In a particularly petty move, she forbade Trustee Carroro from participating over the phone, despite valid safety concerns that prevented Carroro's in-person attendance. Henyard dismissed her colleagues' legitimate worries with snobbery, refusing to allow virtual participation. This meeting is just one example of how utterly dysfunctional the township has become under Henyard's leadership.
That you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have.
When it came time to approve the meeting minutes, Henyard's behavior was nothing short of dictatorial. She tried to rush through the proceedings without any discussion and, in a blatant violation of parliamentary procedure, even seconded her own motion when no one else would. As the meeting continued, it became clear that Henyard was more focused on asserting control and showing off than actually accomplishing anything. When trustee Chris Gonzalez finally had enough and walked out, Henyard quickly fabricated a story to suit her own narrative, claiming that Gonzalez had neglected his duties and was unwilling to manage the people's business. Of course, she conveniently omitted the fact that her own actions were the reason the meeting had fallen apart in the first place. It's no surprise that local residents are increasingly frustrated with Henyard's antics. One YouTube commenter summed it up perfectly. "Arrest this clown already." Another didn't hold back either, declaring, "She is the worst enemy of the residents by far." Despite the mounting backlash, Henyard remains undeterred. In typical fashion, she announced on Facebook that she is running for re-election as mayor of Dalton, as though the scandals and mismanagement of her tenure hadn't even happened. Her announcement only adds to the growing disillusionment among residents, many of whom believe Henyard is more interested in clinging to power than in genuinely serving the community. Political opponents, including trustee Jason House, are rallying to challenge her in the upcoming election. But Henyard seems determined to fight tooth and nail to retain her position as her campaign kicks into gear. It's clear that her tenure as mayor has been anything but smooth. Accusations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and abuse of power have piled up faster than she can deny them. The FBI is reportedly investigating her spending habits, raising questions about how much longer she can hold on to power. Yet, if there's one thing we've learned about Tiffany Henyard, it's that she's not going down without a fight, though financial records suggest that Henyard hasn't raised much money recently. She's pressing forward with her re-election bid. It's a concerning sign of what can happen when someone views public office as a personal playground rather than a responsibility. Henyard's rise to power may have been swift, but if her downfall comes, It promises to be nothing short of spectacular. The people of Dalton deserve better, and hopefully, they will get the chance to voice their opinions in the next election. Will Henyard be able to maintain her position despite the growing scandals? Or is this the beginning of the end for the so-called super mayor? Only time will tell. But it's clear that many in Dalton are hoping for change. What do you think will happen to Tiffany Henyard? Will she weather the storm, or is her time running out? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit the like button if you believe it's time for a change in Dalton's leadership.